Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the 2021 MG Hector facelift. You can see the key is different. It's a little fatter. The other one was like a chocolate bar, you can say, like a Kit Kat. Straight away, let's open the engine bay of this vehicle. The engine is actually small in terms of size. Actually, that's how it looks. The engine bay looks completely empty right now because obviously this engine bay accommodates a 2-liter engine. This is a 1.5-liter unit. It's a petrol and they have covered it on either side. There's insulation right there. And there are changes to the design of the car which are minor. You see the grille has been updated, the main lights are here, a lot of chrome on this car. Dynamic swipe indicators look super cool as well. This of course becomes the LED DRL of the vehicle. I think the Hector definitely looks better now thanks to the fact that it gets bigger wheels. Earlier the wheels were a little puny. This one happens to be 18 inches, 215 55 18s. Alloy wheel design is also very nice. You get body cladding. I mean, this is the dual tone color. That's why the outside rear view mirrors are finished in gloss black. So is the roof. It actually looks particularly impressive in white color because of the contrast. Coming to the rear of the car, there are minor changes here as well. Okay, they have given this gloss black treatment instead of the light, which makes it look cleaner. This is similar to what was there on the Hector Plus, which also has been given similar updates with the 2021 models, which is more features. Now there is this fake exhaust here. There is no exhaust actually, that's just a covering. The real exhaust lies right there. And overall I would say the Hector looks very similar to before. Slight minor changes make it look more appealing for sure. Let's open the boot there. Okay, obviously it's an electric tailgate. The boot is big enough. Nothing has changed here, so nothing to talk about. Let's press this button to close the boot. Now the Hector is actually a very practical car because it's the longest car in the segment and it also has the longest wheelbase too. That shuts. Let's open this. Now you see it gets the dual tone beige interior treatment, because of which the cabin looks even more airy thanks to the fact that it's already airy from before because of this massive panoramic roof. Quality levels are good, not fantastic. Floor is completely flat. 3 people can comfortably sit in here and you get a center armrest with twin cup holders, 3 adjustable headrests, and you can actually recline this seat. Yeah, you can actually recline this seat. Okay, here it is where I was looking. See, you can change the recline angle if you so wish. Yeah, that's also pretty nice, and you can even fold it if you so want, which is a 60-40 split. Yeah, there it goes. Some effort is required, but yeah, 60-40 split in order to increase the massive boot even further. Legroom is good, so is headroom, and okay, you see how upright it is. This lever could have been slightly smoother in terms of operation. You get rear AC vents, you get a USB charging socket right there, and height adjustable seat belts too. Now headroom is good, so is the legroom and the knee room as well. Under thigh support could be slightly better, but that's something we've discussed multiple times. Door pockets are big enough. Let's close this. Proper thud. I mean, it's not thud, it's slightly softish. The Harrier has a better thud in that sense. Okay, you get a request sensor on both the sides. Seats are very comfortable. This car is ringing, ting, 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 ting. Let me do one thing. Where is the indicator button? There it is. Okay, let's shut that. Front seats are very comfortable. 6-way adjust. Yeah, electric adjust. Says Morris Garage is there. All right. And you got good amount of space in the door pockets at the front as well. Nothing has changed as such other than the fact that MG has added more features. Firstly, this dual tone treatment really looks very nice. Gives a lot of airy feeling. Earlier it was all black, which is not so good in the Indian climate because it kind of heats up the cabin. A lot of controls here. Obviously for the outside rear view mirror adjustment, you can press this button to close the outside rear view mirrors. Okay, and this is actually for the boot of the vehicle. Straight away inside, let me tell you, there's a proper dead pedal below. And there is a wireless charging pad, which is a new addition. Wireless charging actually takes quite some time. Meanwhile, the glove box is decent size, not really big. I love the soft touch which they've added here. Okay, gets a nice big 10.4 inch screen. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror has been added. So are ventilated front seats. The button is actually not placed in the right position because it's there. It's something you can't really see when you're sitting. Like right now I was sitting in the car and I'm like, okay, I need to turn on ventilated seats. I'm actually searching and then I was thinking, am I in the lower trim which doesn't have it? Because this is the position. The position of the ventilated seat button could have been better for sure. Okay, there's an eco mode here. This is the gear lever for the CVT gearbox. Twin cup holders. Okay, forget the Lexus key. You see ambient lighting and electric parking brake, auto hold function. This is for the parking sensor. This is for the 360-degree parking camera. Okay, which is very useful. However, clarity could have been slightly better. Below the front center armrest, there's storage space. Steering feels nice to hold. Lot of leather, which has been tastefully done in this car. Now these are the controls for the cruise control, and this is to browse through that instrument cluster. And these are the controls for the audio system and also for voice commands. In fact, voice commands work really well. They also work in Hindi, which is again a new addition. Hello MG.
Yes.
Sunroof kholiye. So she understands English voice commands. I think 35 commands is what she understands. And she's smart enough to even understand stuff like, okay, I'll come to that in a bit. So you see, the sunroof is massive. This is one of the USPs of the Hector when it was launched, but now obviously the Harrier also gets it. Hello MG.
Hi, how can I help?
मुझे गर्मी लग रही है.
Okay, temperature is low up to 19.5 degrees.
So voice commands actually work fantastically well. Okay, let's take a look at the instrument cluster, but first we need to remove this plastic sheet. This car has done only 155 kilometers when they gave it to me. And let me turn off the light because somehow it is just not visible. Yeah, now it is visible. Now this is a nice cluster, but could have been more digital in that regard. You can browse through information very easily, very slickly. So all the information you get on the left, you also get here too. So that's a nice bit. And it's telling me tire pressure monitor and all the usual bits which you've already seen. The good thing is that when you turn on and off this cluster, rather the car, this does a full swipe up, which also looks pretty nice. Yeah, there you see it does a full swipe up, and obviously the tachometer is reversed, which is so like Aston Martin. Okay, you get automatic headlights, you get automatic wipers, you get a lot of auto functions in this car. Let's use the wipers right away. There you see, decent amount of spray on offer, cleans the windscreen in no time at all, and you get a mirror along with a light on the driver side as well. Obviously you get it on the co-driver too, and there is a sunglass holder. Now this screen is actually easy to use. It gets the Gaana app for audio and all the usual bits, GPS and stuff like that. Could have been slightly slicker and faster, but it's still a very loaded screen. We're going to turn on Gaana, and it has got connected car tech as well. So you can geofence the car, you can unlock the car with a remote, rather with your phone, and a lot of other parameters which are very useful and definitely a boon. Meanwhile, let's play an audio right away. Audio quality is absolutely fantastic. I love the way audio quality is on this car, and this is the engine start-stop button, which is placed in a position which you can't really see. Okay, I've turned off the car, and let me tell you that the light intensity could have been better at night. Overall, the Hector is a very loaded car. This one obviously gets 360-degree parking camera. There are a ton of features in this vehicle. Another feature which many of you might not know about is that you can actually open all the windows of the car, including the sunroof, by pressing a key. Yeah, that's not something only Volkswagen does. MG has also been doing it on the Hector since day one, but it's mostly about the gearbox on this car because it's a different CVT unit. Let's see how is it. Let's get driving. All right, we're all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning. Let's get into the navigation, which is okay, GPS. Here it's turned on. We are going to get into sport mode directly, and we're going to turn off traction control, hazard light off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor. It revs till 2500 RPM, and off we go. Actually, I have to slow down because someone's crossing the road. Anyways, getting on the gas, and I noticed that the response is not immediate. Low end response isn't that great. You know why? Because this engine has turbo lag. Now this is a 1.5 liter unit. It's a turbocharged unit, and it powers so many models in the Hector lineup. What do I mean by so many models? First and foremost, there's 16 variants on offer of the Hector, out of which 2 are for the CVT. The lower variant costs 19.76 lakhs. The top variant, which I'm driving right now, this one actually costs 21.6 lakhs. All the prices are on road, Mumbai of course. And there are 11 variants for the petrol alone, and 5 variants are just for the diesel. Yeah, just 5 variants for the diesel. This road is very narrow, but yeah, the Hector steering is super duper light and easy to twirl, which makes driving quite easy. But what is exactly the change here? First and foremost, MG has been offering this 1.5 liter engine since donkey's years in the Hector, actually since when the car was launched. Now, when it was launched, it was offered with either a hybrid, mild hybrid system with a manual gearbox, or a manual gearbox without the hybrid system, or a DCT gearbox without the hybrid system, and now there's another gearbox which is a CVT. So the Hector is one of the few cars which actually offers 2 freaking automatic gearbox options. Why do we need a CVT? Because a CVT is much more efficient when compared to a DCT or any other gearbox for that matter. But it's very noisy in the top end of the rev range, and there's a lot of rubber band effect as well, which you just can't get rid of. Now this engine produces 143 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes around 12.5-13 seconds, so it's not really blisteringly quick. But you know, in the city it's very useful, which we'll come to in a bit because we're going to head to the city. Now let me tell you that the bigger 18-inch wheels do a better job in isolating all the bigger potholes on the road somehow. Yeah, it definitely feels better in terms of ride as well, and the handling is also slightly improved when compared to before, but still the steering is very vague, doesn't really inspire confidence as such. And you know, there is a lot of body roll too, because this has a very soft suspension. Get onto the gas, it stays at 5000 rpm and you don't feel any of the shifts. It's a 8-step CVT gearbox. Okay, braking performance is really very nice and sure-footed here. Makes some noise under heavy braking. Okay, we are going to get into drive mode and we are going to get into manual mode. Okay, let's see what manual mode has to offer. Now we are in first step, revving the motor. It shifts on its own and it takes some time to shift. It's not very fast with shifts as such. However, it's actually very smooth and refined low down. This engine itself is very smooth and refined, which is a big boon here. You can actually go flat out over bad bumps because the ride quality is very nice. Especially at lower speeds, the ride is fantastic because of the soft suspension. It's only at higher speeds you feel that the ride quality isn't that great because high speed stability is not the best because of the soft suspension, of course, and the weight and the body roll which this car is offering in plenty. But let me tell you that this car is not about pushing hard. You push it hard, you're not really going to enjoy it. Drive it sedately, and that's where it surprises by offering really good performance and a very sedate driving experience too. And I'm not kidding, that's the reason you see another Hector is passing by. That also seems like the new one. Yeah, now steering is so light you can actually twirl it with one finger. That is the level of lightness it has to offer. So a very easy to car, rather a very easy car to drive in the city. Onto the gas, come on. Some amount of wheel spin. Finally, it was not wheel spinning on outright acceleration. Okay, that was a bad bump. So that is a problem, you know, over really bad potholes. Now the soft suspension cannot keep up, but I feel the handling is slightly better than before, and even the ride because of the bigger wheels, although grip levels could be slightly better. Again, I kind of feel this car is under tired. Just 215 profile, 215 width tires is not enough, 215 mm that is, because the rivals offer bigger size tires, and a car of this weight and size definitely needs bigger size tires. Power is channeled to the front wheels, of course. Where else will it be channeled to? So although this is known as an SUV, it's more of a front wheel drive model, which doesn't get 4-wheel drive, which could have been offered. But then the Harrier, its chief rival, is also the same, and the Creta and the Alcazar and the Seltos, all of them are front wheel driven. The Jeep Compass is the nearest which actually comes to these cars in terms of pricing, which offers 4-wheel drive. Okay, you see, it's actually very smooth over this road, and somehow cabin noise is also well insulated. Ergonomics are also spot on. The only issue I'm facing is that the USB charging socket is placed in a weird position, because already I feel the position of the ventilated seat buttons is in a weird position. So again, you can understand what I mean. Okay, you can manually take control of the steps, gears, whatever you want to call them. It's not going to let me upshift. No, it's not going to let me downshift. Here we're going to upshift to the maximum 8-step actually. The reason for a CVT is better fuel efficiency, but the claimed fuel efficiency of this car is similar to the DCT, and the pricing is also similar. So now you're confused, what should you buy? Should you buy a CVT or should you buy the DCT? Actually, DCT box is good, but then it tends to heat up, and the DCT is not very fast with shifts. Somehow this is much smoother, and overall it's faster as well, which is usually not the case between CVT and DCT. But in the case of MG, yes, that is the case. Now let me actually change it into sport mode for more enthusiasm. There's also an eco mode here so that you can conserve fuel. I believe this will return somewhere between 9 to 13 kilometers per liter, which is respectable fuel efficiency. Now, it was making a lot of sound when I was pushing it hard, but now you're driving in the city and now you'll realize what is the USP of a CVT gearbox, or this kind of gearbox, for the convenience. Okay, now I'm just going to drive it very steadily. You cannot hear the engine at all. Shifts take their time, but you're in no hurry as such. So it's a good car to drive in the city, very relaxed, very smooth. Obviously it's spacious, it's practical, good ride quality. It's only on the highway you really want more room from the motor, and you want faster shifts as well, and then you also want better handling, a better steering feel, better high speed stability, less body roll and all. So in the city the Hector performs fantastically well, and most of the people who actually tend to buy a car of this segment usually use it almost 80% plus in the city alone. So I don't see much of a problem in that regard. Now here, when I want to make a quick overtake, it immediately pushes all the way to 5000 rpm and then stays there. Even Redline doesn't come very higher up of the rev range. It comes at just 6000 rpm. So that again isn't much. Come on. Yeah, it can get very vocal indeed, and that rubber band effect is very pronounced in this transmission somehow. but you get used to it because not everyone's going to be pushing it so hard. Now we are going to sound the horn. I don't like the horn at all. I mean, I don't understand why SUVs which look so intimidating have a horn which is so meek. It's the same story of when you go to the gym and you see all these bodybuilders. They have a lot of muscle somehow, but when they open their mouth, they are not really scary. I mean, you can have a conversation with them. Same is the case with the Hector. Even the Fortuner I'm driving right now, that has the same issue. It doesn't have a good horn. Come on guys, give us a good horn. Horn is the most important safety feature in India. Okay, I'm going to let this tractor cross, otherwise no one else would. And see, that is why issues happen. Just slow down, buddy. There is no hurry. Come on, here we go. Yeah, the mid-range is actually flat. Honestly, this engine when paired to a manual gearbox is just so much more fun, or probably to the mild hybrid system also, which obviously gives you better fuel efficiency, regenerative braking, and a torque assist of 20 Newton meters, but overall output is the same 250 Newton meters. Now the Hector is available with so many powertrain options, is absolutely baffling. Just same 1.5 liter engine with a mild hybrid system with the manual gearbox. I've already spoken about it, but I want to say again that why does this car need a manual, a DCT as well as CVT? Probably MG should have taken all those resources and used it on the diesel, the 2 liter diesel, which is honestly my pick of the lot because of better fuel efficiency, great performance, 170 horsepower. This is 143, and obviously we know that
speed camera in 400 meters, drive below 50.
Oh, look at this lady sounding it off to me, huh? Thanks a lot. Alright, so all these features is what makes people feel special about buying the MG Hector, and that's the reason why it's selling in good numbers, because the attention to detail is good, although quality levels could have been better. And then obviously me being the greedy person I am, I would expect even more features in this car, but MG has given it everything and the kitchen sink, of course. Come on. Yeah. Just drive this smoothly, you'll enjoy the Hector. Try to push it hard, you're going to be disappointed because that's not where its mojo lies. Unlike its chief rival, the Tata Harrier, it's better driven fast, this is better driven slow, but both of them are really great alternatives in the segment. Again, the Korean rivals are also there, rather the Korean siblings, which also offer good amount of features, and also I think the focus has been on features, a lot of it, because that's where all of us are heading. Now things will get electric in the future. I think MG should definitely offer a diesel automatic Hector. That will be awesome. Now this CVT gearbox is good, okay, in terms of fuel efficiency, in terms of city driving, but somehow people who drive with 7 people do not need fuel efficiency because MG does not offer the CVT with the Hector plus 7-seater. They only offer it with the 6-seater. I don't know why that is. Maybe they must have done some research, and people who are using a 7-seater would tend to take the car out on the highway and would need probably a DCT gearbox or a manual or a mild hybrid or whatever they feel like. So as I see, the Hector has been a great value for money proposition since day one, and it continues to be so by offering good amount of kit, a lot of practicality, and the CVT gearbox will definitely make it more appealing for people who are planning to buy a petrol automatic SUV in this segment. Options are few and limited, but with a CVT gearbox, well, the fuel efficiency is definitely improved from before. So guys, this is my vlog of the MG Hector, the facelifted model 2021, and this is the CVT. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Okay, steering so freaking light. Bye bye, take care.